So for the past month, I've been using apple cider vinegar to try and get rid of my acid reflux, as well as solve some of my other vocal problems. Now, this is kind of a video to just share everything that I've learnt so far. And this ranges from acid reflux to muscle tension dysphonia, to anxiety, to breath work, to talking about opera singers, it's a whole wide variety of things. But essentially, I'm in a much, much better place in terms of my vocal health than I was a month ago. So this is a video to discuss that. And I mean, if you want to go and watch every single video that I've done so far, you can, because then you'll see how kind of like my opinions and stuff have changed by experimenting with different ideas and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video and that you find it useful as well. So I started off by taking 200 milliliters of apple cider vinegar a day. Now that is a lot, and it's definitely too much to take. When I started doing it, for the first day it was fine, because I would do 100 milliliters in the morning, 100 milliliters in the evening. But by the second evening, so that's the fourth round of taking 100 milliliters, I started to feel pretty sick. And I'd lie down for about half an hour before I started to feel just about okay again. So then I decided to drop it down to 100 milliliters a day, so then 50 morning and then 50 in the evening. And I did that for about 2 days. And then on the second day, again in the evening, I started to feel sick again. I never vomited with it, but it was not great. So then the next day, I then went down to 50 milliliters, so 25 and then 25. And now I'm at about 15 milliliters, and that's it for the day. So I'll just do like once in the morning, or if I haven't done it in the morning, once in the evening. I would say around day 16 or so, my acid reflux seemed to be pretty much gone. But then it would come back if I ate too quick before I went to bed. And that was pretty much the only thing that would bring it back on. I'm trying to think if I had alcohol. I think I had alcohol once during this whole thing, because my brother got engaged, so I consider that to be a special enough occasion. So I can't really say for sure whether alcohol would bring acid reflux on, because at the time I was still having the reflux anyway. So at the moment it seems to be like only eating too close to bed, or too close to lying down. So once I ate, and then I did some breathing exercises, and then I had a bit of reflux after that. So just be careful with that, but pretty much doing the apple cider vinegar seemed to get rid of the reflux. But then we move on, and I'm still obviously doing it, because what it's essentially doing is tightening that sphincter. It kind of spasms it shut, so the food and can't come back up in the form of acid. And the other thing it's doing is supplementing if you've got low stomach acid. Now, speaking of low stomach acid, that is sometimes caused by a weak vagus nerve, and this is kind of going to be the part 2 of this whole journey, which was basically discovering what the vagus nerve is and how it relates to so many potential vocal health issues that you might have. So the vagus nerve is located right at the back here, and it goes all the way throughout your whole body, all the way down to your stomach and stuff. Now, by stimulating this vagus nerve, you can potentially get rid of a lot of the problems that you may realise that you have, whether that's acid reflux, low stomach acid, which is kind of related to acid reflux obviously, muscle tension, anxiety, what else, like gut health issues, headaches, migraines, skin problems even, also like forward, like neck posture. Again, that's one of the things where, because my neck's always like this, maybe because when I was younger I was playing like FIFA games and stuff, leaning forward like this, or maybe looking down at the phone or down at the computer, that's kind of stretching the vagus nerve at the back, so you've got to be careful with that as well. So if you can actually adjust your lifestyle to be looking up at things like that, so even if I'm on the train with my phone, I'll be like this, or with a book or something. So be careful with that. But once I discovered about this whole vagus nerve idea, I started to look into ways that you can stimulate that, because in relation to singing specifically, what we need when we're trying to do mixed voice is we need that uvula to rise. We need that tongue to be really loose and stuff. But if the vagus nerve is not stimulated properly, that uvula doesn't rise. It's really, really hard to get it to go up. So you can get the sound into the pharynx, which is where like your voice will really resonate out, which is the most exciting part of singing, in my opinion, at least. Now, the way you can stimulate the vagus nerve and potentially solve a lot of these other issues as well. Another one is sinusitis, because I've always suffered with like nasal inflammation and stuff. But potentially that's through me singing through the nose too often, getting that nasally sound. But by trying to get the sound to the pharynx and bypassing the nasopharynx, that might dissipate as well. But yeah, essentially by stimulating the vagus nerve, you can potentially get rid of all of these sorts of problems. Sleep apnea is another one. Now, the way you can do that is by cold water therapy. So we've actually got a pool here, and in Australia at the moment it's winter time and it is absolutely freezing. So it's not quite an ice bath, but it's really, really cold enough for me to not want to go in, basically. But I would go in 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes in the evening, before and after work. And pretty much after 3 minutes, because your body's kind of really stressed about it, obviously. But if you slow down, this is something I realised after a few days of doing it, if you really slow down your breathing, it actually becomes quite relaxing and almost therapeutic in there. And you have like music on the side and stuff, so it's actually not too bad. But it was really, really hard in the beginning, I guess. But yeah, literally after 3 minutes or so in there, it becomes okay. And then maybe around 8 minutes to 10 minutes, that becomes quite hard again, because you're kind of watching the clock, seeing when the 10 minutes are up. But then what I noticed is, the other day, for example, when I couldn't fit in, like jumping in the pool, I would take a cold shower for 10 minutes. And usually, like I think it was last year, I did a cold shower every single day for a year. In 2022, and the whole of that 2 or 3 minutes that I was in the cold shower for, it would basically be like agony, because I'd be like just trying to get to the 2 or 3 minutes. But because I was going for 10 minutes in the cold shower, it kind of set my my baseline like way higher. So now going in a cold shower for 10 minutes, and bear in mind I've only done the cold water therapy stuff for like 10, 11 days now. But going in a cold shower now for 10 minutes is like super manageable, and that's really quite strange. But the idea why cold therapy can work for you is if your body's always in that fight or flight mode. So like, for example, for me, my back, my neck, my throat and tongue, jaw, everything, it's all really, really tense the whole time. And this is potentially due to anxiety. Maybe when I was younger, there was a few issues that went on. So like ever since then, my body's always like raring to go, basically. So if you go in cold water though, your body is then activating that fight or flight mode. So when you come out of the pool after like experiencing that and being able to calm yourself down, you come out of that pool and then your body's kind of realizing, oh, it's actually not too bad, and it can kind of relax a little bit. Now if you're doing that every single day, morning and evening, very quickly it's like the tension starts to dissipate more. So now when I'm singing, it's a lot easier to have a looser tongue, looser jaw, everything like that, because it's not so like raring to go, basically. So that's one thing. The second thing is deep breathing. Now I was a little bit skeptical about deep breathing, the Wim Hof stuff, because I'd actually done it before, like, do the 10 minutes, the video that you can see on YouTube and stuff. So I did that for like a year or whatever, not every single time, but like most days. And I didn't notice too many benefits from doing that. But then when I came across Michael Trimble, who is a brilliant former opera singer and voice teacher. So he talks about how all the opera singers that he's met over his lifetime, and bear in mind he's got like 6 years of experience in that industry. So he talks about how all of these famous opera singers, they all did some serious breath work every single day, whether that be like hours of swimming or like go for really, really long walks or do like 3 hours of yoga, something like that. So I thought, one, I'd do the Wim Hof stuff, but do it for like 2 hours a day or something crazy like that, because it's something I never even considered. So I'm there like on my bed, like properly like breathing in and out, and then doing the breath holding stuff. But then again, it's like similar to the cold water therapy stuff. Like that was really helping with the singing, because obviously you're getting your diaphragm like way more used to being in the right position for singing. So it was, again, that was something that really was very, very helpful. And it also means when I'm sleeping now, it's like my tongue's not like getting in the way and like causing me to snore and stuff. So I'm waking up with a bit more resonance in my voice, because usually I wake up and I'm all like crackly like this in the morning. And there are some videos on my YouTube channel so far that you can actually go back and see. And in the morning, I'm just like, a wreck, basically. So, it's helped with that as well. Now, the other one is meditation. So this is number 3. And I have found that this is pretty good. Like, Justin Caffrey is someone who talks about the vagus nerve a lot. And he does these brilliant meditations where he does for like 10, 15, 20 minutes even. And I'm pretty sure there's like no music. It's just him talking. And honestly, I find that, because there are some meditations, like guided meditations, where you've got waves and stuff in the background, but I personally find like a bit too much noise to like really calm down and relax your body. So I find the ones where it's just like Justin Caffrey talking in his beautiful Irish voice, that I find works pretty well for me to really calm my body down. And a way that I actually test this is if I put my hand to my face, because I've generally pretty bad circulation. Again, another one of those weak vagus nerve symptoms. So a way that I can test if my vagus nerve is stimulated is if I put it to my face, is it cold? And generally, if it's cold, it's not too bad right now. Maybe that's because I just did an hour of Wim Hof breathing. But if I feel it's cold, I'll then put my headphones in and do some like meditation, or do some deep breathing, or like go in the pool, all that kind of stuff, and that all seems to help pretty well. Now, another thing is Ujjayi breathing, so that's breathing like this, because that's getting the breath like up into the pharynx area. If you do that, this is what I found, if I did that with like a meditation for about 20 minutes before going to bed, it meant that the whole night's sleep would be much better, and I'd wake up with a more resonant voice. So try that maybe, because I was pretty amazed at how well that worked. So maybe give that a go. It's almost like Darth Vader, and essentially you want to do that, but then like breathing just through the nose. So if you do this, and then shut your mouth, and just try and get the same sensation, then that's how you do the Ujjayi breathing. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm not sure. Now, what else is there? So, Michael Trimble, I would definitely check him out. I linked him in yesterday's video. He's got so much good advice. Because something I discovered, and this is one of the biggest things I discovered from him, is that a way that a lot of the current vocal teachers teach diaphragmatic breathing, because this is something I've never really gotten to grips with properly. They all teach belly breathing out like this. But what actually you're supposed to do, as in this is what all these famous successful opera singers do, they actually breathe into their back. So like their lower back, their upper back. And they, instead of, putting your belly out and then bring it in when you're singing, as so many modern teachers tell you to do, which I've not found ever really working for me, you actually want to breathe into your back like this. And then what that does is, and basically it's like kind of like you're bringing your abs in, and then when you're singing you kind of relax them out. So it's actually the complete opposite. But what that's doing is that's making it it's basically bringing your larynx down, and you're not forcing it down like this with any serious jaw movements or anything. Doing the breath that way, you're bringing the larynx down, so the sound again can travel up into the pharynx a lot easier and get that really resonant sound, which is really good. And it also closes off the nasopharynx, so again getting the sound into the pharynx. So these are all the sort of things that I've learned so far. I've also done some cognitive behavioural therapy to talk about some of that anxiety stuff with a qualified therapist, which has been pretty good. She's given me some really good tips to try and be really careful with my thoughts, not let negative thinking kind of get in the way and drag me down. For example, if I wake up really early in the morning and then I have a negative thought, I'll try and then I've basically been taught to like kind of catch that thought and stop it, stop me like catastrophizing. So that's been pretty good. And then I've also got speech pathology sessions starting on Monday, and they're going to go for like at least 5 weeks or so. So I'm really, really looking forward to that, because that's going to help me not just with the singing but also with speaking as well. Because I mean, I was at the FIFA fan festival yesterday for the Matildas versus England game, which was really, really fun. But you know, I found out like I have to like use so much effort just to talk to like my brother who's like just there. So, and even if I'm in like public having lunch or something, like again, any crowded space, I have to really like kind of almost shout. So I really hope I can get some good info and training from this speech pathologist. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're up to. Another thing that I wanted to mention is Alan Gordon, and he's someone who wrote a book called can't remember what it's called. It's something like Letting Go. I'll link that in the description as well. But he basically runs a free pain program, where it's about people who have chronic pain, and often what it is people have kind of like perceived pain, but actually it's essentially a neural pathway that's been formed, but it basically thinks that you've got an issue, but it isn't actually there. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's so. For example, if you feel like you've got something stuck in your throat, like I've had that sensation for such a long time with acid reflux, it's almost like because when I went to the ENT, they basically said, look, there's nothing actually structurally wrong with you. It's just you're really, really tense in there. So with my muscle tension dysphonia, that's like at the vocal cords, like the arsenoid cartilages that are attached to them, that are attached to them, are kind of pushing together like this, really, really hard, which is causing a lot of tension in the voice, which causes me to go hoarse really easily and stuff like that, and makes it hard to do mixed voice. But with Alan Gordon, what he's basically saying is you need to kind of understand that there's nothing actually wrong with you, and that mental shift, that there's not actually anything that needs to cause that, you know, force in there. It really, that seriously, and you can see the video on this. I did it. I can't remember where it was around, but probably around day 10 or something. But even that mental shift made it a lot easier to like relax all this stuff up here, because like, oh, there's nothing actually wrong. Because before you're kind of stressing like, oh, there's something wrong. I can't get rid of it. So I found that was pretty helpful. So I'd check out the free pain program by Alan Gordon. And what else there? Basically, we've learned so much on this journey so far. I've also moved to a predominantly plant-based diet. Although I've been a bit slack on that recently because of the breathing working so well and stuff, and the cold water stuff working so well. So I've been a bit stuck on that, but I need to get a bit better on it, because I've been occasionally like processed foods here and there. So I'm trying to be. I need to be better at that. But at the start of this whole journey, I was doing the like a low carb diet, and I was severely lacking energy. I lost a lot of weight. So I then transitioned to a plant-based diet, which is supposedly better for seeing anyway. Like if you look at all the pop stars, what they're all eating like, you know, like basically vegan diets and stuff. So yeah, and like a meal that a snack that I really, really like to have is like yogurt, peanut butter, frozen berries, maybe some banana in there, and then some dried nuts and dried fruits and nuts and stuff and seeds. That's a really good snack. I showed that in a video a couple of weeks ago now. So that's really, really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's anything else, I'll obviously do another video more like this in the future. But this is pretty much the 1 month update. And I'll keep updating every single day as I go along. But essentially, yeah, with acid reflux, because that was the initial problem I was trying to solve. But then it came, all these other problems like kind of came along as well. But yeah, vagus nerve, breathing, cold water stuff. Check out Michael Trimble, Alan Gordon, what's his name? The vagus nerve, Chaffee. Yeah, I've forgotten his name, but I said it earlier. But yeah, see what you like out of all this information that I've given you. But that's my experience after 31 days of doing the apple cider vinegar test, and I'm obviously going to keep doing it probably forever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.